We interrupt this transmission to bring you the following live broadcast.
It's Wednesday. It's 6 p.m. It's the ThinkSoJoe Show.
And Brian.
You didn't get effects. Try it again.
I don't get effects.
You have effects now.
And Brian.
You might not be able to hear them, but you had them.
Okay, cool.
Brian's in his own studio today.
I am. I hurt myself, and apparently people won't listen to the show if it's too heterosexual, so I still had to try getting on the show somehow.
I guess. Yeah, you had texted me. You said, can we do the show here? And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. I was thinking, like, you wanted me to actually bring my shit over there and do the show, which we could have done.
Yeah, it's just so shitty out. I don't want you to fucking walk or take the bus.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been out anyway, so, I mean, not today we haven't been out, but we've been out in this shitty weather, so we're used to it at this point.
So, is
Poor Karina's feet were, like, frozen last night when we got home from the river pub.
Yeah, I have this thing where I'm allergic to cold, and I'll get these, like, hives. And it's weird, because it got so bad when I was in high school once. There was, like, freezing rain, because I live far enough where I could take a bus, but I always hated the bus.
Right.
And I was always doing stuff right after the end bell of my last class, so by the time I was, like, ready to go, okay, now it's time to get my bus was already gone. So I got so used to skateboarding and walking and riding my bike, and I remember it got so bad, it was, like, a February, and it was freezing rain, and I walked all the way home. And I got home, and my skin looked like it was, like it felt like a snake's scales.
Yeah.
Because I had so many hives. And we went to the doctor, like, half an hour later, and they couldn't explain it. And to this day, no one could ever explain it to me. But it only happens when I'm severely cold. Now, what was really weird was I haven't really had that since I moved to Buffalo. Like, I'll get, like, a bump here or there. It usually starts on my knuckles or on the knuckles of my feet. And the past couple days, it has been really bad. And then I went to... I had band practice. When I went to band practice Monday, like, it was all... Like, my ass was all hives. Like, I was so itchy. And then yesterday, I was going to go to Nick's show. But first, I had a meeting at Francesca's, right by where your studio is.
Right.
Because they want to book my band. So I had a meeting there. I was there for about an hour, and afterwards it was so cold in there. I was, like, freezing, and I, like, had all these fucking bumps on my hands again. And what happens is everything swells. So my feet and my hands were swollen with all these hives and shit. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go home, put the heating blanket on me, and try to get fucking warm. So that's what I've been doing lately.
Yeah, I mean, usually it's no, you have to go see live music. No, fuck that. It's too damn cold. I missed, I was going to go to a show last weekend, which was supposed to be the Dreadnecks, the Scarecrow Show, Inherent Vice, and Irregardless. And half of the bands didn't even make it to that show.
I know. The worst part of it was, I was like, I want to go. And the night before, I'm talking to Lily, and I'm like, I'm going to go. Do you want to come with me? And she's like, well, why don't you ask Joe or Karina? And I'm like, well, they're already going.
Right.
I saw Karina was like, I'll be your door girl. So I was like, well, they're already going to go, but I want to know if you wanted to come. And she's like, no, but Lily doesn't really like being out. You know, that's just not her thing. She's an introvert. So I'm like, well, I want to go. And I'm like, well, let me hear the Scarecrow. What's their name? The Scarecrow Show?
The Scarecrow Show, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I've never heard them, or I can't remember listening to them. So I'm going to listen to them. And I'm like, oh my God, like, this is just old school punk rock. Like, yeah. I loved it.
Oh, they're really good. I saw them, it was a Wednesday night show. It was them and, like, the Hovelists and, I don't know, like, I think This was on that show. And some band from, like, West Virginia. And literally the only person that was there that wasn't there with any of the bands was me. And the sound guy. And the bartender, basically. But, like, you know, like... So, like, the only non-employee there was me. And so, they're like, oh, we're going to give out a CD. So they threw out a CD to the crowd, and one of the dudes from the band from West Virginia grabbed it. And then like after their set, they were like the singer slash drummer comes up to me and he goes, "Hey dude, I saw you rocking out to our stuff. Here's a CD." And I'm like, "Dude, I just played you guys on my show like yesterday."
Nice.
or like earlier today or like last week or so, whatever it was, because it was a Wednesday night show and like literally nobody. I felt so bad, but they were so good, and now I've got them actually coming up February 20th with the Dreadnecks, THC, and Final Decline at Stamps.
Yeah, like I'm like, oh my god, I gotta go, and then like, I wake up the next day and they're like, okay, so here's what the weather's gonna be, and I'm like, and then I saw Nick Landers' post like, oh, it's not that bad out, and blah, blah blah blah, and then it's just like, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, the Dreadnecks due to weather can't come, and the Scarecrow show due to weather can't come. I was like, oh, okay, well.
See, I missed those posts, and then but I saw that Nick and Dan from XM Priory played an acoustic set, which we were privy to some of that last night at Nick's birthday party. But yeah, so like, oh man, I really wish I would have went, and then I found out about Nick's birthday party, and I'm like, oh well, okay, I can still see Nick do an acoustic thing, and Dan was there doing some songs with him, some XM songs, including Goddamn, which is like the really like thrash metal song that they have. Yeah. They did like an acoustic version of it, and it worked. I don't know how, but it worked just really well as an acoustic song. But yeah, I found out like the next day that the Dreadnecks weren't there because I was talking to Grant. Somehow I got talking to Grant, so I'm like, yeah, man, I really wish I could have came last night. He's like, dude, we weren't even there. Like, oh shit, okay. He's like, yeah, we couldn't come, and like, we had, we were gonna go see Wyatt Coyne the next night, and Wyatt Coyne had to cancel because their car broke down or whatever. We were gonna go catch them at Mohawk, so like, just all these shows were just falling apart over the weekend, which really sucks because they were all really good shows.
Yeah, the winter has just been insane.
Yeah,
it's killing live music these past few months because it's been a constant. I'm like, what is it? The last 4 days, it snowed at least a little bit.
Yeah, I feel
in Buffalo,
dude. I feel really bad because Nick told me last night. Nick Landers told me that there were like 7 people paid for that show at Evening Star. I felt bad. I'm like, man, I really wish I would have came. He's like, no, you did the right thing. You stayed home. And then like after I got home, I'm sitting in the studio, I was doing something, and I got a message, and he said, hey, did you guys make it home okay after I got home from the River Pub in Niagara Falls? So Nick, like, was looking out for us, making sure we got home okay, But yeah, man, it's just been bad. It's been tough to get out and do anything, really.
Yeah, it's just, I hate the cold. I like Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo grows on me like a fungus here and there.
Right.
But, the weather just sucks. I don't like hot. Like, that's why I like Long Island, because Long Island was like right in the middle. It was never too cold. It was never too hot. Like, if it was more than, like, if it was 110 degrees in Long Island, it's because you were on a hot fucking black roof. Like,
right.
And like, I don't ever recall anyone going, okay, it's gonna be hotter than 90 degrees. And then you're on an island, so go to a beach, and most beaches are free in Long Island or inexpensive. It's like $5
right.
for an entire car of people. Like, I don't know, like, it's just so fucking cold here and depressing at points. So I pay, I have a job. I have jobs now, so it's like now I actually pay taxes, and I'm like, my tax dollars are going to plowing. Why aren't I getting plows in my street? Like, the second I get a job, I turn into like a curmudgeon-y old man. Like, get off my lawn! I pay for this lawn. Like, it's crazy. I don't have a real job for like 3 years, and then I start paying taxes, working once a month or twice a month at Rapids, and now I'm like, hey, I'm paying for this shit, you motherfuckers.
I don't want to talk about taxes, man. I started doing my taxes, and yeah.
Are you writing off everything you did in the studio?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, but still, that's putting me at like owing a lot of money.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm gonna see if I'm gonna figure that I gotta like sit down and actually like have time to just sit there and work on this and figure out what I did last year where I ended up getting money back.
Do you and your ex-wife share?
No.
Excuse me, the tax credit? No. Yeah. She just gets it.
Yeah. I should get earned income credit of like, I think like $400 or something. because I pay child support, but I got behind on my child support, so I don't get that earned income credit because I was not at zero at the end of the year.
Oh.
So, like, you know, that really sucks, but at the same time, it's like, well, that's, you know, at least this year I know it's my fault. Like, previous years I wasn't getting it because I owed them, like, $5.97 that I didn't realize I owed them.
Oh.
This year, it's like, okay, this is my own damn fault.
Yeah, like, I just got a letter in the mail. It was, like, dated, I think it was, like, January 3rd, and I got it, like, January 8th, and it was, like, and it's this huge, because in, like, the night before, Lily and I were talking, we're like, you know, you should really call and find out how much you fucking owe for child support, because Rapids has just been paying and paying and paying. And, like, I know I'm at least 2 months ahead, but I have no idea. And I got this huge thing in the mail going, like, hey, we saw that you work for the Riviera Theater, so instead of taking money out of Rapids, we're going to take it out of Riviera. I'm like, I've literally worked at Riviera Theater once.
Right.
Guys. Once. Like, you can't, like, it's so annoying. So and they still didn't tell me how much, and it goes, total arrears owed, $0. It's like, I hate that, like, their paperwork, New York State's paperwork, makes it sound like no matter what, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't owe anything, but for some reason you still got to throw in there, total arrears owed, $0, but you're still a piece of shit. It's like, dude, like, I pay my fucking kids.
But I mean, like, literally for the past, like, few years, like for, like, the last 4 or 5 years, probably longer than that, like 7 years at this point, I was getting, you know, total arrears owed $5.97, and I'm like, I don't owe you anything. And I finally found out what the money was from, why I owed, and it was, like, from the week that I got married to my last wife. I only worked, like, 1 day, so they only paid a portion of my child support. And I realized that was the reason, like, all these years later, and I'm like, fuck. So when I started paying my own child support when I was working on my own for those 4 months, it was just like, okay, well, cool, you know, I can just, you know, I can pay that, and then, like, I missed one payment, and the thing that I was paying through is like, well, now you owe us, like, $60 as well as your child support, and we're not going to pay you anymore until you pay us. It's like, fuck, all right, well, you know, I'll just get the vouchers, and then they don't, like, automatically send you the vouchers anymore. You have to print them.
I don't even do the vouchers. I just send a check. That's all I do. I just send them like, what I do is I write out a personal check with my name on there, whatever I owe, and then and I have to put in my county code, which is 26, because we're in the same county.
Right.
I have to put in my account number, like whatever my child support account number is, and then I have to put in my Social Security number, and on a check, and then I just send the check, and with all that information, they can, just with your Social Security number, they can pull up your account. So they go, okay, and this goes there, and that's all I do, because the vouchers, because when I got right when I started paying child support, they would send me these vouchers, and it would say on the voucher, like, you do not have to send the voucher in, you just have to send a check in for this amount. I was like, okay, because I paid child support for the first 2 years out of checks. I didn't actually have the vouchers, and I didn't have a full-time job that was doing that, so I don't know, just
good to know. I mean, I just got to pay, like, I owe them for, like, 3 weeks, I think, 3 or 4 weeks. But, like, then I started working again, and so, like, I started, you know, my job is paying my child support now. I don't, you know, that's coming out of my check, which really sucks because I'm working 2 days a week, so my actual, like, paycheck is, like, $114.
Yeah, it was like the way Rapids has been doing it now is they're taking like 48% of my check, of my net income. So it's like they just paid me because I worked 2 hours on New Year's Eve. So I got $10 an hour, or no, I got like $10.40 an hour or something like that.
Right.
And my check was for like $9.54.
Damn, dude.
And my child support was like $9.23. That's how much they took out. So I was like, oh, okay, so it was close to $20. And that's what like all of my checks with them have been. It's been like, because I don't work enough through them for them to pay my entire child support.
Right.
And I only get paid bi-weekly. So it's like, So every check is literally like one show. It's annoying.
Yeah.
And they're gonna and now I worked that job with Karina last weekend. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna get another thing in the mail going, okay, so now you work for this company. It's like, guys, apparently you do not work with freelance people that have child support that much, because
right.
You have no idea what's going on anymore. And
how is your foot, by the way? How is your foot?
My foot's better. Apparently, what I was told was, your muscles are like the fibers in a rope, like the rope you go to gym class on.
Sure.
So either it tears or it frays. So my muscles apparently frayed a little bit, and that's why my foot was hurting. And the reason they frayed was because my calves were so tight. Because what happened is everything's connected, and this is, they always tell you this, the head bone's connected to the neck bone, blah, blah, blah. You don't really realize that until you hurt a part of your body, and it fucks everything else up. So I hurt my lower back. That knocked my hips out of alignment, which now that pulls on parts on my thighs, which pulls on my knees, which pulls on my calves, which pulls on my ankles, which pulls on my feet. And also it goes up too. Like my chiropractor, when he was working on me, he popped my lower back into place in a second, and then spent 10 minutes just working on my upper body because it was so out of alignment when I hurt myself.
Damn, man.
So it's pretty much, so Lily, she tried massaging the foot and that wasn't working, and then she started massaging my calf, and she's like, your calf is always really tight and hard. She's like, but it's much tighter now than it usually is. So we worked on that, and I took some of my my gummies and really tried relaxing it, and the pain's minimal now. I mean, if my back didn't hurt so much, my foot would probably hurt more. But it's sad to say, but I'm resound to the fact that I will be in pain for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So it's so sad to say that when you're 31 years old. And,
yeah.
And I was I hurt myself when I was 28, and I had doctors tell me oh no, you're gonna be great, and you're never gonna be in pain again. And, this is such an easy thing, and it's just it's not. And it's these doctors, and then when I finally met my chiropractor, and he was just no, it's gonna hurt forever, man. He's he's just but if you do these exercises and you come to me regularly, and he doesn't want to see me. He hates it when he sees me once a month, because it got to the point where I was seeing him once every 2 or 3 months, and he was so happy. He's oh, you just need a tune-up. And now it's because of the winter and everything, it's just oh, okay, I'm going to see Brian more, and he hates it. It's nice, because it's nice having a doctor to know, because he's only making $40 a visit on me.
Right.
That's all my chiropractor is. So it's not like he's making bank on me. I mean, he's still making $40 every 15, 20 minutes. So, but it's nice having a guy go I don't want to see you. I'd rather have you feel better and me not make that $40 than me have to see you because you're in pain all the time. So, but it was really great, because he's just no, I know exactly what's wrong with you, and stuff like that. And I mean, it was, what was it? Friday when I went to him. It was really fucking bad, and he didn't just work on my hips, he worked on my lower back, my mid back, and my upper back, and he cracked all the way up to my shoulders. And then he wanted to crack my neck, and I hate when he cracks my neck because it always hurts. It always feels like a Steven Seagal movie whenever he cracks my neck. So I'm I don't want him to crack my neck. So he just gave me some exercises to do to make it so he wouldn't have to crack it and shit like that. But yeah, he's yeah, if your neck isn't better next time I see you, I'm gonna force you to make me crack it. I was yes, sir. So, but yeah, I'm broken. It sucks. I'm getting used to it. It just, like I said, it sucks, man.
Yeah, I know Karina got home, and she's like, Brian hurt his foot. I'm how did Brian hurt his foot? She says, I don't know. So it's okay, and I shot you a message. I don't know if it was that day or the next day, and I was dude, I heard you hurt your foot. Are you all right?
Yeah, it's just sucks. Thanks, Laura Moore. That's what I want. I want to be told I'm 51. Jesus.
She says that this episode was recorded on July 16, 1997 from Scott Leffler, and asks, you were paying taxes in 97? Wow, you're old.
Yeah. Yeah, no thank you. I hate that I'm 31 years old and I'm still trying to make it as a musician. So it's like depressed. Like I had a Monday. We had a band practice. Our band practice go about 8 hours.
Sure.
So it's about 9:30 at night now. We're pretty spent and we're just talking now. We're eating some dinner and we're like, yeah, like 2 or 3 years, things are really going to start moving. And I just blurted out because I am just like, when I'm like really tired, I can't think anymore, and it just whatever comes to mind. And I'm like, if we're in the same spot in 3 years, I'm leaving and I'm never playing music again. And like everyone just stopped dead. Like and no one said anything. The subject was changed because everyone was just like, what do I say to that?
Yeah, right.
Like Brian's the one who got everything moving on this band again. Dan, our singer, is the first one to say, he's just like, I don't know where I would be without you. And I got like the whole band except for a bassist together. And, I'm booking the shows and I'm keeping everyone's spirits up. And it's like, if Brian leaves, like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
So, and I'm like, well, guys, it's not like tomorrow. I'm like, it's just, I'm not going to be in the same spot I was with Lost Elysium, where 3 years later, everyone keeps saying that they're going to do anything they can. And no one does anything. So
right.
And it's shit like it's like I'm the lazy asshole because like Dakota, our lead guitarist, is like, hey Brian, I want to come to your studio and let's record a couple of videos of us doing some cover songs. And I'm like, that sounds great. No, because I'm so busy doing everything else, and it's just like no, I'm just not in the mood right now. But someday, I promise you, someday you'll come here.
Yeah, right.
But and like we're already talking about, we got an offer from a band that one of the band members owns a recording studio down in Florida, and they were like, hey, you guys should come down here and record a song with us. So now we're like the past couple of practices we're just playing around with stuff, and we're still in the honeymoon phase of or the dating phase, I guess would be better, of hey, let's just try to get to know everyone. And because our bassist is his name's Eric, and he's like too good. like he plays Primus like it's Brain Stew from Green Day. Like,
really?
It's so easy for him. And it's funny because like he'll play all this crazy music, and then you have Dakota, who is like, he was in Breath of the Valkyrie. He's no longer in that band, but he was in Breath of the Valkyrie, and they were like trying to be like the next Trivium. So they're pretty much straight up like hard, like heavy metal.
Right.
And he's got a great voice, and he actually like he was taught to play guitar, so he knows scales and modes and stuff like that. And then so he's like, that's his style. And then you have punk rock Brian, that it's just like, I'm one of those guys, like when I write a song, it's like, if it can't have only 3 chords and a great vocal melody, then it's a shitty song in my opinion. Like that's how, and that's what actually drew me to Breaking Solace, because if you really listen to Breaking Solace, the choruses are only like 3 or 4 notes, and with a great vocal melody and great lyrics.
Sure.
And that's what drew me to it, because I was like, I listened to the first time I heard the band was when I saw them, and I shared a stage with them with Lost Elysium.
Right.
And they and I'm like, man, it's sort of like Linkin Park and Papa Roach, but then like newer bands like post-hardcore and stuff. Like, it was just a little bit of everything, and I really like that. And I'm like, but it would be better if they had just a little bit more punk rock style. And then I joined the band, and I'm like, guys, I'm bringing punk rock in here. and my punk rock isn't even punk rock. It's the mentality. If you have the punk rock mentality, there's so much that you can do. And I don't think the band really knew what it was in for, because like the past couple of practices were was it not this past Monday, but the week before that, the bassist and Dakota, they like started doing this like pirate riff. It was like very like Ailstorm, like piratey type stuff.
Sure.
And everyone's like, yeah, this is really cool. And then Dan was playing drums to it because Jake can't play drums yet. So as we're trying to get everyone up to speed, Dan's been playing drums. And like Jake comes to me and goes, Brian, like, do you have anything? And I'm like, well, I have this thing. And like Jake's just like, oh my God, I want to play on that. I just wish I could play drums. And then I play something else. And then I played something like so not Breaking Solace. It's like very thrice quiet.
Sure.
Like post-alternative indie or something. And like the whole band's like, hey, Brian, like, can you just keep playing that for a little bit? So like for like 10 minutes, I just kept playing the same riff over and over. And they're like, this is really cool. And I'm like, okay, like I think writing is going to be really fun in this band. And that's what it's been as of late.
Cool.
So
I did see a video of Jake playing drums with one arm, and he's better than a lot of two-arm drummers.
I mean, you were there in person and you saw him.
Oh yeah,
with the cajon.
Yeah, with the cajon though, but that wasn't like full blown drums. But I saw him on like Instagram playing drums, just like with one arm.
Yeah,
it was like damn.
Yeah, I sat on the drum set. And whenever there's a drum set and I'm in front of it, I need to play it, and it's so sad because I'm a guitarist, and everyone the second I start playing drums, they're like, oh, he's a guitarist.
I know what that's like.
But the fun part was, Jake is like cringing when I'm playing his drums, and I look at him like, Jake, don't worry, I'm not a drummer. I am a percussionist. And then I'd hit a cymbal and go, see, percussionist. so I call myself, because like right now my studio it's a little packed because I have my electric kit in here. And what I do with my electric kit when I'm writing drum parts is I'll play the best I can to the drum part, to like the click track and to the guitar part. And then what I'll do is I'm like, okay, now let's take that and actually set it up and now quantize it and pretty much have the computer take over and actually play what I'm trying to play.
Right.
And that's how like when I did the Silence the Cynic music, that's what I did. I pretty much pretended to play drums and then told the computer to do better. So I had HAL 9000 help me out.
Kind of what I want to do. I want to do stuff like that, and I don't even know like where to begin with that. First, I need to get an electronic kit and kind of try and teach myself to play.
Well, one day you can come to the studio and I can show you all of this shit. I'm still trying to get it to work with Reaper because right now it only works on Logic, and I hate Logic. I still hate Logic.
By the way, man, you recommended Reaper to me, and I've been using it ever since. I love that program for my voiceovers. One of the voiceover guys that I watch on YouTube actually had a series of how to set it up specifically for voiceover. And so I followed that, and now it's like the perfect thing for me to use.
Like, there's a guy named Glenn. He's from Spectre Sounds on YouTube, and like he's got like a full-blown recording studio, and he's just like, yeah, I use Reaper. Why? Because I really like it, and the plugins that come with it are some of the best plugins on the internet.
Sure.
And like their compressor and their noise gate is amazing, and yeah. I mean, I started buying plugins when I started really getting into shit. Like they have a pitch corrector and stuff on there, but I don't want to use an auto-tune.
Right.
So I wanted a slight auto-tune, like live auto-tune thing. So I picked that up at Waves, and I picked something else for vocals, and then everything else is like, it's like full-on programs like Bias Effects and Easy Drummer and keyboards and like stuff that no program will come with unless it's like GarageBand. So, and like I still fucking love it. And the only thing I hate is I can't get my drums to work with Easy Drummer 2 in that program.
Right.
I can only get it to work in Logic, and I don't know if it's if I'm missing something, or I always need to update it. Like every time I go on Reaper, it's like, hey, you have a new update. I'm like, God damn it! I keep updating you.
I know how that goes too.
So, and it's only $60, which I know you probably still haven't paid yet.
I'm going to eventually.
Yeah, I know how you feel. I've been saying that for like a year and a half.
No, now. I'm going to, I love the program, and it's like there's like one plugin where you can just grab your background noise and it'll take it right out, and you can set presets. So, like, I have presets for, like, if my air conditioner's running, if my heater's running, if there's, like, the wash machines are going, you know, if there's just, like, a compressor going off outside or whatever. Like,
if your girlfriend's complaining that you're not cleaning the house well enough, there's one for that.
She hasn't complained about that yet. I'm doing the best I can.
I told her on the ride home from the last job we worked was, I'm like, well, there's two types of cleaning. There's boyfriend cleaning and girlfriend cleaning. And I'm like, you do the boyfriend cleaning, and you just do that so the girlfriend cleaning can come up right after that, and it's a little easier for the girlfriend. Right. So those are my rules. So
I'm doing the best. I'm working on the studio right now. So I mean, I sent you the picture of just that one corner. I was like, look, it's clean, kinda.
It's funny because I was like, the first thing I'm like, hey, look, it's my amp. I miss it.
Yeah, right.
I still got a profile. I got a profile like all my amps still. I'm so fucking lazy. I haven't done that yet.
Well, I mean, like I said, you're welcome to borrow it to profile it whenever you need to. So.
Yeah.
Let's get into some music. We got a show coming up on this Friday at Nietzsche's. It's all Western New York's first show at Nietzsche's. And we're actually still trying to fill a slot for this show. We had, unfortunately, one of our bands, their singer got bronchitis and is unable to perform. So we're still working on that. So hopefully we'll have an announcement soon as to who's going to fill in that slot.
When is it?
It is this Friday night at Nietzsche's. At 10 p.m. The slot we're looking to fill is 11:15 until midnight.
Oof.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm like, if you need someone to show up and do a half-hour acoustic set, I'll show up, but...
Yeah, we're working on it. We'll find somebody, I'm sure, in the next couple of days. But opening that show for us and playing a full hour at 10 p.m. is Tokyo Monsters.
Yeah!
And this is a song from them. This is called Daredevil of Marywood on all WNY Radio. ThinkSoJoe Show. Tokyo Monsters on all WNY Radio, the ThinkSoJoe Show. My phone just went off.
I heard.
Yeah, I got an email. Thank you for renting Star Trek Insurrection. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Did you already talk about...
yeah, we already talked about the one last week.
Oh, man, I missed that.
Well, I will talk to you about it, because I know, like you said, that was one of your favorites. We'll talk about that. So we'll get into that a little bit.
Can you hear this?
Kinda, a little bit, yeah.
Okay. I've been playing bass the entire time we've been talking.
Have you?
Yeah. I'm in my studio. I'm surrounded by musical instruments. Be happy I'm not playing drums right now, guys.
I'm sure. I've got the noise gate turned up a little bit to kind of block out some of the noise from my studio. So I gotta. So hopefully that's making this sound cleaner on the air.
I think it sounds pretty clean over here.
Yeah, I mean, I did the Nick and Dan show, and like, it's not going to air for a couple of months, but they asked me, like, what's the one piece of equipment in your studio you can't do without, in reference to the podcast? And I'm like, my noise gate. Like, this thing is a godsend, man. Like,
I wasn't even invited.
I don't know. I was just...
it's the ThinkSoJoe Show with Brian. Oh, fuck Brian.
I got to... They asked... they said they were in the office. I'm like, you didn't invite me. And they're like, well, we need you to come do an interview. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. And they were like, Thursday at 6:30. So last Thursday at 6:30, I'm in the all WNY radio offices doing the Nick and Dan show. So we did an interview, and then we did like a bunch of introductions for season 2. So you're going to see me on every single episode of the Nick and Dan show this season.
That's hilarious. I know I'm going to be on the Nick and Dan show. We're shooting March 4th, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they got a nice little setup there. So that was, it was cool. We got to, and we were messing around with Scott's Amazon Echo.
I know, I saw that. I'm like fucking trolls they are.
Oh yeah, I mean they started with the titty sprinkles, right? And then so like when we went in, I just had to mute mine so that it's not picking up when I'm talking about it. So we were just like, Nick was add stripper shoes, and I'm like add a mail order bride. So we're just like riffing on this, Echo thing, and Scott's like, like if you go into the Alexa app, you can hear like the commands being spoken. So like he plays it back, and it's like Nick saying, "Alexa, order 12, add 12 cheeseburgers to my shopping cart." So yeah, luckily it doesn't actually like buy the things until he actually checks out. So.
Thank God.
Yeah, Scott would be getting weird shit to his house, man. Yes, the Nick and Dan Show Season 2 is coming up, I believe, in April. They're going to start airing new episodes, and I will be on every single one of them.
Ugh. I'll be on one of them.
So, if you need to skip the first 30 seconds of the show, but these intros were, like, really fun to do, so I'm not going to give any of them away, because... that's for their show. But yeah, we had a ton of fun doing them. I'll do one. I'll tell you, one of them was they handed me a cowboy hat, and I've got these ski goggles I've been wearing everywhere, and they're orange. So I put the cowboy hat on and I put the ski goggles on and I said, "This is Bono, and you're watching the Nick and Don Show." I don't know, like, that was probably the worst one out of all of them, so I don't know if that's going to make it out to any of the episodes, but just like, it was just like, hey, I have orange glasses, kind of, and I have this cowboy hat. Like, by the way, Bono was on the cover of Rolling Stone. I don't know if you knew that. I was walking through, we were at Rite Aid last night, and we looked at, we were walking by the counter, and there's Rolling Stone magazine with Bono on the cover. And I'm like, what the fuck has Bono done that he's on the cover of the Rolling Stone this week?
Doesn't U2 have a new album out?
I don't know. I took credit for it. I said I made that joke on the Nick and Dan show, and then all of a sudden this dude's on the Rolling Stone. Fuck that, that's my cover. So I'm on the cover of Rolling Stone this week. In my own little mind.
In your own little mind, yeah. Jeez. Yeah, I have no idea why he's...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they got a new album, cool, good for them. I don't know. I know you're a fan. I'm not. So
Like, what was it? Some of my band members were bitching because they got their iPhones and you know, that was right around the same time they got the YouTube
the free
YouTube album. And I'm like, oh, hey, you guys are lucky. I had to illegally download the thing, and I love the album. Like, I actually like at least half of the songs on there. So I was like, one of them's called like The Ballad of Joey Ramone, and I was like, and it's a really good song. So my problem with YouTube for the most part is if you always take their album like it's vinyl, their A side, like, which is usually the first 4 to 6 songs, are always better than the rest.
Sure. I mean, here's my thing about that. Like, I understand why people were upset, but at the same time, for me, it's always like, I never, ever complain about free music. I mean, if you look through my phone and you see some of the shit I have in there, and you're like, why do you have a Katy Perry album? Because it was free. Why do you have the best of fuck, I can't think of her, the one that does the fucking song about shit, I don't even know what she does, like Sierra or something like that. I don't know who the fuck it is, but I have like the very best of Sierra. Like, why do you have that? Because it was free. Like, a shit ton.
Just because it's free, Joe, doesn't mean you should have it.
Well,
VD is free.
This is also true. I don't know, man. Free is my favorite 4-letter F word. Followed by food.
Mine is fairy. I know it's 5.
I was saying that's more than 4 letters.
Shut up, Joe. I'm hurting.
Yes, I will give you a pass because I know you're in pain.
Woo, pain pass.
Yay, pain pass.
I'm trying to spell ThinkSoJoe Show right now, and I'm having so much trouble. ThinkSoJoe Show. God damn it, man. Oh, it's because I put the. That's why it's all fucked up.
Ah.
There we go. Oh, my God. There we go. My view and my studio are recording ThinkSoJoe Show. I'm like trying to like hype it up, and I'm like just fucking this up, man.
Yeah, man. I slipped on some ice the other day, man. Like, we were walking home from the store, and just like, I've got bread and eggs in one hand, and I slipped and fell on the ice. I'm like, fuck. But I like made sure to lift that bag up so it didn't hit the ground.
Yeah, I go to Lily, and I'm like, hey, I'm finishing up Francesca's, and I'm not going to go to Nick's birthday show, so I'm going to stop off and get some eggs at Tops. Do you need anything else? So she's like, yeah, let me know when you get there. So I get there, and I slip on the fucking ice, because they never plowed it, like the small Tops that you go to.
Okay, yeah.
So they never plowed it or anything. So, and then I get the shit, and I come home, and I put all my groceries on the ground so I can go get another bunch of groceries for my car. As I'm bringing groceries into my kitchen, my dogs are so excited to see me, they jump on my eggs.
Oh, no.
I was like, God damn it, man. I was like, and like, how do you get angry at a dog for being just happy that you're home?
Yeah, right.
Like, and I'm like, God, I just bought the eggs. So most of them were still good, but I was like, oh, God, like, and it's like they're chihuahuas. Like the heaviest one's like 25 pounds.
Right.
Like, they're small dogs in comparison, but it's still like, they still, can crush eggs pretty fucking easily, apparently.
Yeah, I slipped, and I'm like, whoa. And then, like, by the time Karina turned around, I was already back on my feet. She said, what happened? It's like, I fell. She's like, oh, I thought you saw, like, a dog or something. Oh, no, I fell. Like, I was fine. It didn't hurt or nothing. It was just like, damn, that fucking sucked, Like, I've fallen way harder this year than just the other day. Like walking between Target in Niagara Falls and where I work, that's like always ice. So that's a pain in the ass to walk. But like, hey, I need food, You know
what the worst place to walk is? Up and down your stairs.
Hey, we've been keeping our stairs clean.
Now, when you say we, is it Karina going, hey, Joe, shovel the fucking stairs?
No, it's Karina shoveling the stairs.
Oh, women's lib.
And she loves to shovel, so I ain't gonna stop her. Hey, you like the one night when it was the night of the Inherent Vice show that all the bands dropped out of and nobody went to. And I feel awful about that, by the way, because like Inherent Vice deserves to have a full show every time they play. So we were going out. We were going to the store or something, and she was like, "I'm gonna shovel real quick." Like, okay, so she shoveled off the stairs and she shoveled the porch. Well, not the porch, but she shoveled the stairs, shoveled the sidewalk in front of the house. And then we went out and we came back like 10 minutes later. It didn't look like anybody shoveled. Like, that's how bad it was snowing the other day.
Yeah.
So we were like really glad we didn't go. You know what I mean? It was like we felt bad we weren't there, but at the same time it was like, two of the bands weren't there, and then again we were going to go out Saturday, and like Wyatt Coyne couldn't make this show, and I liked some of the other bands on the show, but if without Wyatt Coyne, it was like, nah, I'm not taking the time to do that in this weather. Like if it was summertime, yeah, I'd have been at that show, because I think this was on that show, and another band I really liked was on that show that I can't think of off the top of my head. But without Wyatt Coyne, it was like, okay, now it's missing something, that would be fine in the summertime when it's nice weather and it's no issue to get from place to place, but in this weather, fuck that. I like the bands, but missing your headlining band, basically. It's like, well, okay, now I don't really want to make the trek in this weather.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So I feel bad, it's nothing against this or any of the other bands on the show. I mean, I've got this coming up on a show, 5/19, May 19th at Good Bar.
Do you now?
I do, with Of Night and Light, Archers, and Inherent Vice.
I love Of Night and Light.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. That's going to be a good one. We got some really good shows coming up. We got Friday coming up with Tokyo Monsters, Nuke Fun, and Humble State, and hopefully one more band. March 31st. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. February 10th with the Dreadnecks, THC, Final Decline, and Scarecrow show. That's over at Stamps. Yeah. March 31st, you know about this one. Kennedy Carpool, Breaking Solace, and Exham Priory.
And we're just doing 3 bands,
Just doing the 3 bands. That is a killer lineup in itself. I
agree.
For the All WNY anniversary show, and that's going to be a really good show. May 19th, Good Bar, This, Of Night and Light, Archers, Inherent Vice. June 1st at Nietzsche's. This one's finalized. Yellow Sauce, Janie Crash, Billy Jaws 2, and The Lady or the Tiger. And we're still putting together a couple of July shows. We got this really good punk show we're trying to put together early in the month, and then later in the month we've got Buried Beneath Concrete and Coffin Hook with a couple of other bands. So a huge metal thing going on.
I only like really bad punk shows, so I won't go to that one.
I'm still waiting to hear back from the bands. I think the only one I have confirmed right now is Axed and Smashed.
Are you just booking them because they are part of your... It sounds like your favorite tag team?
Their name is based off of Demolition, but no, that's not the only reason I'm booking them.
Sure.
I hear Karina laughing. I showed her my Demolition action figures earlier, the autographed ones in the studio.
So what you're saying is you're never getting laid again.
You might be right about that. She's now seen my action figure collection and how it actually looks when the shelf is clean.
Yeah, she's like, oh my god, I'm sleeping with this?
Yeah, I take way too good care of my action figures when I actually have them displayed properly.
Oh, did you... here's a wrestling question. Did you watch SmackDown?
No.
Okay, because like one of the YouTube wrestling podcasts or whatever, they had a picture of Earthquake, John Tenta.
Okay.
And then I read like the results, and they had nothing on Earthquake on the results, and he's dead. So I'm like, why is he even in the results? Like, why is he the screen capture for these things? So
I don't know, because I know that Tuesday night they announced that Goldberg is headlining the Hall of Fame this year.
Boy, who would have thought?
Yeah, right. So I don't know if maybe they made two announcements. I don't know. We didn't get around to watching SmackDown. We were at Nick's show, and then we came home and watched Space Jam. And then when I got up, it's like, oh shit, I gotta watch Star Trek.
Space Jam, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love me some Space Jam.
Yeah, I've seen it before, but that was like, I've only seen it like once before. So it was like, all right, cool. She found the DVD was laying around somewhere, and she was like, she brought that in the room, and she brought like the My Cousin Vinny Blu-ray. So like, oh, cool, yeah, we're gonna watch Space Jam at some point. So we watched Space Jam. Well, I watched Space Jam. She fell asleep.
Aw, who would have thought?
Yeah. It was a good movie, man. I enjoyed it.
I love Bill Murray in it.
Lady Laura Moore says that her favorite four-letter F word is 4, and that SmackDown started in 1999 because this episode supposedly aired in 1997.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I don't listen to Lady Laura Moore anymore. More.
Any more spelled Moore?
Yeah, that's it. Oh, man. Oh. So, and what do you call it? All West New York Radio may have another show in March, but you and I need to talk about that.
Okay.
Off the air.
Sure.
I've got huge plans, but that requires me to actually go through with said huge plans.
Sounds like a plan. That reminds me, this is episode 97 of this show.
I know, like, there was you just posted, I got a thing that said 2 years ago, I think it was like 2 days ago, that you had just announced me as your co-host for the show.
Yeah. All right, so today is episode 97, and next week would be 98, the 31st would be 99 on February 7th. That will be our 100th episode, and I was thinking we could do that in studio in Niagara Falls at the office. And I've been in negotiations with a band that wreaks havoc on our equipment that may perform for us on that episode.
Is it a band I like?
It is a band you like.
Is it a band that has their own show on All West New York Radio?
It is a band that has their own show on All West New York Radio.
Okay, that's all I needed. Yeah, because I was actually going to suggest the same thing. So.
Yeah, that seems to be the plan right now. I just need to finalize details with them and see what we're going to do. But that seems to be the idea. 3 weeks from now is to do the show in Niagara Falls.
Oh man, I'll perform a song too.
Yeah, you can do that.
We'll all perform music. I'll perform one of their songs, and they can perform one of my songs. Because that won't be weird.
Yeah. Yeah,
I want to sing the song. God damn, I lost my way. I love that song.
I got to hear that acoustic last night too. That was pretty cool. Yeah, like it's cool how well some of their like heavier songs translate into being just these acoustic songs that are really good. So like I really would hope that they play "Goddamn," which is the other song that says "Goddamn" a lot in it.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe we'll get them to play both. Who knows? We got to talk to them. We got to figure that out and make sure that they're available and able to do it. So.
Yeah, one thing I can't stand is when a band takes like their heavy songs and then they pussify them, like they make them like so like weak. It's like, come on, like you could, like what was it? Korn did "Freak on a Leash" acoustic, and it was like on MTV Unplugged, and I was like, okay, this is cool. I'll give you that, but I would have also liked to hear like still a rock version, just acoustic guitars, like. But it was like, oh, well, let's throw some piano in there and this, that, and like, oh, come on, guys.
Right.
So
he did that with he did that with Amy Lee, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like bands that still rock out even on acoustic guitar.
I mean, like, the way that they performed Goddamn was like, holy shit, like, this song works really well in that capacity. Like, you wouldn't think so when you hear the electric version because it's so, like, heavy and thrash and, like, but then, like, he just does this acoustic version and it's like, holy crap. Like,
you guys can actually play and sing. Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe we'll get them to do that on the 100th episode. Which is coming up in 3 weeks.
Cool.
Yeah, man. It's been a heck of a run. We made it this far, despite Lady Laura Moore thinking otherwise.
Yeah.
So, like, what are your memories of the 100th episode?
I can't believe it's been 100 episodes. That's just scary.
We just did 300 on Board Wrestling Fan not too long ago. We didn't do shit for it either. We're just like, fuck it, it's an episode.
Well, because I was there I think I was there for episode 100 for Board Wrestling Fan.
I'm curious. I'm actually going to go look up episode 100 and see if I can...
Yeah, I think I was either 100 or 200, but I think it was 100. Because I think you were like, hey, Brian, why don't you come for 200? I was like, nah. Because I think that fat bastard and you were still friends or some shit.
Probably. And for 200, I think we had, like, multiple guests. Let's see. BWF crew reminisce over past episodes and are joined by Mr. Brian DeVille of the DeVille Agency. Mr. DeVille talks up his clients, RJ City and Rhett Titus, both of whom will be in action on Sunday, November 30th at Empire State Wrestling's Wrestle Bash event in Lockport, New York.
I think it was at that one.
Yeah, also appearing on the show... Also appearing on the Wrestle Bash card are Kevin Nash, Gene Snitsky, Trent, Colin Delaney, and the first ever BWF interviewee, Johnny Gargano. So no, I don't think you were on that one, yeah.
Yeah, never mind.
We discuss this week's wrestling television, go over the news, and celebrate 100 episodes of BWF Radio.
Because I've been on, I think I've done 3 different episodes with Brian DeVille, and I've been on 2 different episodes with Frankie Feathers.
Yeah.
And
you were on that infamous one where Frankie Feathers does not touch children.
Yeah, Frankie Feathers. I still want to freaking get a freaking billboard and like just have his face on there, and have it say like Frankie Feathers does not touch children. Because first off, it's like wait a minute, why do you need to have that? No one was even thinking that he touches children. Now we have to wonder if he touches children. Like. It's just, and then people can't get angry at you for bringing that, though, because it's just like, I'm not saying he touches children, I'm saying he doesn't. I'm on his side, guys. So, and it's just like, what? So, is he still a face?
Yeah. I haven't been to a show in a while, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still a face.
I can't fathom him being a heel with his gimmick.
They've actually got a show this Saturday with Brian Cage from Lucha Underground who's going to be on that card. But I'm not going to be there. I got my kid, and she wouldn't go to wrestling. So
your kid doesn't like wrestling? What kind of father are
you? My kid's a teenager, man. All she wants to do is sit in her room with her headphones on. She don't give a shit what I'm doing, what I'm into, you know. Episode 200, Joe, Fat Guy, JT, G, Noise, and Coaster are joined by special guests, PWX champion John Schuyler and musical guest Andrew J. Reimers on this milestone episode of BWF Radio.
And what was that, 200?
That was 200.
What the fuck special anniversary ones was I on? Because I know it was on an anniversary.
You were probably on the anniversary episodes. That's what I'm looking up. Anniversary. Let's see. I think maybe you were on the actual like anniversaries.
Okay, like year or 2 year or whatever.
Okay, so we had episode 49. Joe, JT, Fat Guy, G, former regular co-host Drow Goddess, joined by Empire State Wrestling's Brian DeVille and Frankie Feathers to talk this week in pro wrestling. That was the first anniversary.
I had to have been there because I know both of them were there. One of the first episodes I was on there.
It doesn't have your name in the description anywhere, so
I don't know. Maybe you guys just don't like me.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe I was a bad co-host.
No, you are not a bad co-host. We liked you on the show.
I know Gary Barnage thought I was a bad co-host.
You kept saying Cleveland Browns, and we were just like, oh, this is going to be funny, man. Anytime somebody says Cleveland Browns, we're just going to play the Cleveland show theme. And you just kept doing it.
Because I'm a troll. I troll my own shows, though. I don't troll other people's shows.
Yeah.
I don't go on a newscast and go, Baba Booey, Baba Booey. So it's okay.
Right.
But I think we should get into some music, and then Joe can re-regale me on what he thought of Star Wars First Contact and then Star Wars Insurrection.
Sure, that sounds like a plan. And this is a band out of Buffalo-ish. Somewhere around here. They're playing on this show on Friday night at Nietzsche's. And they are called Nuke Fun. And I'll give you a longer song so you can get a little reprieve from me. This song is called Imagine Us on All WNY Radio, the Think So Joe Show. on all WNY Radio. ThinkSoJoe Show. That song called Imagine Us off their latest EP, Porter Party. Porter Party.
Porter Party.
Porter Party, not Porta Potty. Porter Party.
Porta Potty.
Porter Party. I'm sure, I don't know if they have physical copies. Maybe you can pick them up Friday. It is on Google Play, I can tell you that much. But you can definitely check them out this Friday night at Nietzsche's over on Allen Street there. First time for all WNY Radio at Nietzsche's, or even like in Allentown there. So that's going to be a fun experience for us.
I've played Nietzsche's.
Well, la-dee-da. I've seen you at Nietzsche's.
Yeah. The night that Joe doesn't like to speak of. It's all in the past, Joe.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that. I'm fine. I've gotten over all that shit. So.
Yeah, you're right. Fuck her.
Yep, exactly.
She doesn't listen to this show.
Exactly.
No, Karina doesn't even listen to this show. So, Joe Knows Jack is this wonderful thing that I have created. It is my monster that I have bred with sadness and angst. And Karina hates it because it takes Joe away from her.
She reminded me that I had to do this, by the way. We're sitting at home, and she's like, hey, I'd hate to spoil your good mood, but have you done your Joe Knows Jack for this week? I'm like, fuck.
Okay, so we're doing the Star Trek stuff. So I would just like to know, what did you first think of one of my favorite Star Trek movies, Star Trek First Contact?
I didn't really get into it. It wasn't bad, but I wasn't really like super into it and like, oh, this is great. I did mention last week that I felt like if Kirk were in charge instead of Picard, instead of like calmly talking the lady that passed out and like they brought her back and she was threatening to shoot Picard with the phaser or whatever. I think instead of calmly talking to her, Kirk would have just fucked her.
Calm down. I can't.
Right, exactly. It wasn't a bad movie. I wasn't like super into it, but like, it is what it is. It's Star Trek. It's the Borg. It's the first time you see the Borg in the films. And they're trying to assimilate data and all that, and like, I thought it was a pretty cool movie. I still like the fourth one the best, just because I thought it was hilarious. It was more like a comedy than a, sci-fi film.
the voyage home he's talking about.
Yeah, it's the one where they had to go to 20th century San Francisco.
I think my favorite part of Star Trek First Contact is the Borg, because it's this species that isn't a species. It's more of a parasite.
Right.
And it needs other bodies, and it's sort of like
also Kirk would have fucked the head of the Borg.
I mean, I'd fuck the head of the Borg too. I mean, it's Tilda Swinton, man. I have a huge thing for Tilda Swinton though. So if you want to see a really cool movie with Tilda Swinton in it, and it also has Loki from Thor, and it has he played Chekhov in the new Star Wars films, but he died.
Right.
It's a movie called Only Lovers Left Alive. And it's about these two vampires that are separate, and then they love each other. And the way it's supposed to be is they're pretty much Adam and Eve, but they're vampires, and like Romeo and Juliet's about them, and like, because they're really old. And the male vampire is like this musician who like loves old stuff, and like every time someone hears any of his songs, they're like, oh my god, this could be the new thing. And what he does is he sells his music to all these bands. So every like famous genre, like when Flock of Seagulls came out, he was the reason. Like, he actually sold his songs to Flock of Seagulls. He sold his songs to Led Zeppelin. He sold the songs to to like the Who. Like every time there was a new like popular genre, it was actually all because of him and stuff like that. Like he just wanted his music heard. So it's a weird movie. It's a very slow movie. So I know Karina would fall asleep, but it's just a really cool movie. And like when I watched it with Lily, I was completely shit-faced on sangria. It was so good.
Karina would like to point out that she does listen, and you are wrong. However, when we went to the first song break and we played Tokyo Monsters, I went out to refill my Pepsi, and like I heard Possum Kingdom by the Toadies was playing. So yeah, it wasn't our show.
So here's something funny. Summerland, the Everclear show is coming back, and it's got Everclear, one of the best local bands of all time that got to open up for Metallica, Local H. And then and it's got Marcy's Playground on there too. So hopefully they'll come to hopefully they'll come somewhere near Buffalo, because I'd love to see Everclear again.
I would like to see that show, and yeah, Local H. I didn't get to see Local H when they opened for Metallica because like nobody wanted to see Volbeat. And like after hearing Volbeat, I'm like, okay, I completely understand.
I love Volbeat because it's just like like it's really.
I think Volbeat literally did a show like at Rapids. I think the night before or the night after the Metallica show in Foxborough. It was the night after because I'm like, hey, we can hitch a ride with Volbeat, and they're like, no, we're not doing that.
It was Art Park.
Oh, was it Art Park? Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to go to that, but I had a show because I like the music, and there's a couple of songs I like, but people have to remember they're not from America.
Right now, but neither is Avatar, and Avatar is really fucking good.
But again, I could barely understand what Avatar sings live. So, but to be fair, like most places, I can barely understand the singer because the music's so fucking high.
Sure.
Except for Stone Sour. I gotta say, man, Stone Sour is really good. I wish you stayed for that.
I saw what I wanted and I went home.
I know. Dude, Steel Panther, they're such nice guys. They're so nice to me.
They're touring with Fozzy, right? Well, they're going to be touring with Fozzy in Europe. We actually, on Board Wrestling Fan, had a discussion about whether or not Chris Jericho could be in the Royal Rumble because he's playing with Fozzy that night in France with Steel Panther. So we've determined that it is physically impossible for Chris Jericho to get back to Philadelphia and wrestle the night of the Royal Rumble.
When's Raw 25?
That is this coming Monday.
Oh, okay. Because I was told he was coming to that.
He'll be on that with like The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Trish Stratus has been announced for that. Eric Bischoff, Hall and Nash. Just all kinds of, all kinds of legends, and my understanding is the first hour of the show is going to take place from the Manhattan Center, where the first Monday Night Raw took place on January 11th, 1993, and then the rest of the show is going to take place in the Barclays Center.
Why don't they just do the whole show at the Manhattan Center?
I don't know. I figured they probably figured they could sell more tickets if they sold for both venues. So
that's true. It was funny because who was it? I think it was Walt Culture just did like 10 famous scenes or something at the Barclays Center, and at the Manhattan Center. And what was really cool was I forgot that Shawn Michaels and Mr. Perfect had like these huge matches together in this feud. So, because I didn't really start watching wrestling until about, I'd say 6 months before WrestleMania 10.
So you mentioned What Culture, and I'm like, I don't know that channel. I'm not on that one. I only know Slat Rock and Wrestling is Life and WrestleMania. I'm on all of those.
Actually, I just watched WrestleMania the other day, and I'm like, this isn't Joe's voice. I miss Joe's voice.
I fill in for WrestleMania. I got a WrestleMania gig in my inbox right now, so that'll be coming up soon, I'm sure.
But what did you think about Star Trek Insurrection? Let's get back on topic there.
So I will be perfectly honest that I was cleaning while I was watching, so I was half paying attention. So I mean, I thought it was a pretty good movie. I mean, because you had Data dealing with the kid who didn't know anything about technology. So, and they get to be friends because Data's like, well, I've often wondered what it would be like to be human. And the kid's like, I've often wondered what it would be like to be a robot. And so they were sharing stories and all that. And then the whole thing with Picard's like, no, that's against the Prime Directive. We can't do that. And they're like, fuck you. We're doing it anyway. And he's like, the fuck you are. And then he stops them because
I love the Prime
Star
Directive.
Trek. Then he stops them because Star Trek. And it's like, well, now I have to go defend myself from the Borg and from the Vulcans and from whatever the fuck else, the Romulans and all that other shit. And but I have shore leave coming up. But, I mean, Kirk would have just been like, yeah, they can fend for themselves for a little while. Fuck that.
Did you have to pay for this one?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, out of all the weeks we've been doing Star Trek, and last week's was the first one I had to actually pay for because it was the first time that they weren't on Amazon Prime. That's not bad. I mean, that was paying for my Prime membership for a while,
Yeah.
Getting those for free. And we have one left.
Yeah, we got Star Trek Nemesis, which is one of the least popular ones. It's only got 38% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm looking at I've got the list of Star Trek films, and that's the one that's left. So, I mean, starting next week, you got to come up with more stuff for me to watch.
Damn it.
Yeah, man. You got through these.
Jurassic Park.
Oh, God, no, I already did that.
Do it again.
I ain't doing that again. I was in the office, and Scott's got the book. And the book's just sitting there. I'm just looking at this book the whole time I'm in the office, like, what the fuck? And Scott's, like, really into dinosaurs and shit. In fact, we went to a Sabres game last Tuesday, Karina and I, and there's, over at Canalside, there's this big, like, dinosaur statue, right? And she was like, I can get my picture taken with this dinosaur statue. Like, okay, cool. So I took her picture, and then when she uploaded it to Facebook, it automatically tagged Scott Leffler as the dinosaur.
Nice.
Because Scott had taken a picture of it and posted it back in, like, April when we went to a Bison's game. Like, I was there when Scott took the picture of the dinosaur. It was the first day the dinosaur was there, and he was like, I gotta get a picture of this before we go to the... It was we went to, the Sabres had the... the NHL had the Centennial... thing that they were doing was at the arena that day, and it was Star Wars night at the Bison's game. So we went and got our picture taken with the Stanley Cup, and we went through this NHL history exhibit and all this other stuff. And Scott's like, "Oh, I want to see this dinosaur before we go over to the ballpark." So we went over to Canalside, we found the dinosaur, and he took a picture of the dinosaur. So when Karina went to take a picture of the dinosaur and upload it, it was like. It automatically tagged Scott Leffler as the dinosaur.
That's cool.
Either that or it just thinks that Scott is old.
Looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah. Karina says to watch things she wants to watch for Joe Knows Jack.
Home Alone 5?
No, not Home Alone 5.
Has she ever seen Home Alone 5?
I doubt she's seen Home Alone 5. Have you ever seen Home Alone 5? I don't know. She's typing right now, so I don't know. Yeah, I doubt she's ever seen Home Alone 5.
I know one listener
She says Land Before Time. I've never seen that, so that would fit the criteria. She says with all this dinosaur talk.
There's like 20 of them.
I know, right? And I've never seen any of them.
I've only seen like the first 6.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them, so that would fit the description.
Have you ever seen Addams Family?
Yeah, I've seen Addams Family.
Have you seen Addams Family Values?
And Addams Family Values, yes.
Okay.
And heard the MC Hammer song from the Addams Family Values soundtrack.
Oh my God, it's terrible.
She says no Home Alone 5.
I don't know. Is there anything that you're interested in seeing, Joe? Are there any franchises that someone's been like, you should see this, and you're like, maybe, I don't know.
Not really, no. I mean, and that's just, I know there's a ton of movies out there I haven't seen that are, like, considered classics or whatever. I mean, you missed us last week talking about Titanic. because I've only seen half of Titanic, and I've seen like bits and pieces of the second half. And Karina's like, the best part of the movie is when the guy goes overboard and he hits the propeller.
Yeah, it's all CGI, but it looks cool.
And I'm like, I've been told about that scene, and I've been told it's the best scene in the movie. And then if you look up on YouTube the best scene in Titanic, that's what comes up.
Yeah.
Is this guy going overboard and just bumping into the propeller on his way down. It's like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, you say bumping, but it's like just splattering on it.
Oh, sure, whatever. I mean, it was great. It was just, we watched it on YouTube right after the show just because she was talking about it. It's like, I have to see this. Everybody tells me how good this part is.
What about Thunder in Paradise?
No, I haven't seen Thunder in Paradise.
How have you not seen Thunder in Paradise? It's Hulk Hogan.
I understand it's Hulk Hogan, but I've also not seen Mr. Nanny.
Okay, we're doing Hulk
Santa
Hogan
with
movies.
muscles. Oh God. Okay, well I'll spare you that I've seen No Holds Barred and I've seen Suburban Commando.
Ooh, okay, well, 3 ninjas escaped from Magic Mountain.
Sure.
Let's.
She says for us to do a Joe Knows Jack TV series, which I know you don't want to do because that would take away like the one segment that you look forward to every week on this show in order to do it as a TV series. Oh, no. I think she means do a TV series like where I have to watch a TV series.
Yeah, the problem with doing a TV series, though, is, I mean, it's just so... Because, like, a good TV series takes a while. Like, I would give you, like, the Drew Carey Show or something like that.
Well, I used to watch the Drew Carey Show, so I mean that's like, and I enjoyed the Drew Carey Show, and I would enjoy to watch the Drew Carey Show again. So,
like, and that's the thing. It's just like, but the good ones are the good TV series. Like, have you ever seen Firefly?
No.
See, maybe I'd give you Firefly or something because it's only 6 episodes.
Sure.
So because Fox was like, fuck this shit.
I mean, like, we could do this reverse, and I could give you a show, and you can watch all 600 and some odd episodes of The Simpsons, and I'll ask you about them in like a month.
I'd kill myself.
We sat there last night, like after Space Jam was done, and she was asleep, I was awake. I'm like, fuck this. I put on like a random episode of The Simpsons and fell asleep. It was a newer episode, so it wasn't the Aurora Borealis episode. I actually watched that before last week's show. I was sitting here like I need to kill like half an hour, so I was like, I'm gonna watch 22 short films about Springfield, and that's that's what that segment is from. Phantom of the Paradise, 1974, says Mr. Mark.
Yeah, Mark likes those good movies that are like classics, though.
That sounds interesting. Let me get a description of this here, and we'll go from here. I clicked on it and then it moved, so it didn't click. Let's see. A disfigured composer sells his soul for the woman he loves so that she will perform his music. However, an evil record tycoon betrays him and steals his music to open his rock palace, the Paradise. That sounds interesting.
Well, they have... Okay, so we have Hulk Hogan movies. The Secret Agent Club, which is pretty decent.
I haven't seen it.
Santa with Muscles.
I have not seen it. I've seen the review on like Wrestling with Regrets and Wrestle Crap.
Thunder in Paradise 1, 2, and 3, and then there's a TV series.
I know there was a TV series. I didn't know there was three movies. I knew there was at least one.
Let's see what Mr. Nanny.
What many people who don't know about Hogan, what many people who know about Hogan don't know is he was in the quote sport for several years. What the fuck? Shut the fuck up, IMDb. In virtual obscurity before they have sports in quotes.
Nice.
Fuck you, IMDb.
I hate their IMDb page because it gives you like all of Hulk Hogan in wrestling stuff too, not just movies.
I see Rocky 3 on here. You know I've seen that. That was we've done that on Joe Knows Jack. Hulk Hogan filmography. Trying trying to get it on Wikipedia and see what we get here. I guess I'm just going to the Hulk Hogan page, and then maybe there's a filmography on here. Filmography, there we go. So Rocky 3 was his first movie. We've seen that.
He got fired from the WWF for that.
He did. Bimini Code and Goldie and the Bears were his next two movies. He was in the A-Team on TV. In one episode, he was in No Holds Barred, Gremlins 2, The New Batch, which I just watched the other day. So
yeah, I love that one.
You know, there's an alternate sequence. Instead of Hulk Hogan and like the movie theater, like the film ripping apart and all that, it's they take over your VCR. It was on the VHS version. They take over your VCR and then they start flipping channels and they end up in a shootout with John Wayne.
I've seen that one on cable.
Yeah,
actually,
it's on my Blu-ray. It's on the special features. I watched that after we watched Gremlins 2.
Boom.
So Suburban Commando I've seen. Mr. Nanny I haven't seen. There's Thunder in Paradise. We've established I haven't seen that. Trying to just find movies here. Spy Hard, I didn't know he was in that. I haven't seen that. Santa with Muscles. Three Ninjas, High Noon on Mega Mountain.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Muppets from Space, Hulk Hogan was in that?
Yeah.
I must not have seen that.
Well, the problem is most of these are like for a minute or like 2 minutes. Nothing like major.
Here's one I've seen, Romeo and Juliet.
I've never seen that one, and I never will.
So, well, I was flipping through channels, and I had HBO at the time. And I came across like this animated film, and first thing I hear is Hulk Hogan's voice. I'm like, wait a minute, I know that voice, and then I ended up watching the whole goddamn movie just to sit through the credits and make sure I was right about it being Hulk Hogan.
You could have just went to IMDb.
I could have, but I was too lazy. And in 2014, he was in a Radio Shack commercial for Super Bowl Roman numerals.
Super Bowl Roman numerals.
XL, I think that's like 38? XLVIII, I don't know, 48?
I don't fucking know.
What the fuck ever. That was a great commercial, though. I don't think it's on YouTube anymore, but it was like, I know that commercial itself is on YouTube, but his, like, he had a specific commercial to himself, where it was like him and Sergeant Slaughter, and like, I don't remember what the deal was, but like Alf had his own commercial.
Yeah.
Like, it was just all these 80s guys, like Dee Snider was in the commercial, and like, I don't know, like, I think Mr. T was in there. Like, a bunch of people were in that commercial.
Have you ever seen the Cheech and Chong movies?
No.
Maybe we'll do that, since I have them all on DVD.
Maybe. That'll work.
I actually do a cover of one of the songs from one of the Cheech and Chong movies.
Do you? That's cool.
I don't think I'm allowed to play it, though.
Probably not. Yeah.
I'm right here in my fucking studio, but...
Yeah. I don't know, man. We'll finalize that next week, I guess, because we're gonna have to.
Yeah.
We've got no choice but to finalize that next week. Otherwise, we don't have a segment the week after.
Maybe I'll do music movies or something.
Okay. I like some music movies. I wouldn't mind seeing some music movies I haven't seen yet. So
I've got plenty of them.
Cool. So we'll figure that out next week.
Yeah.
In the meantime, let's get to another song.
Sounds good to me,
This
buddy.
This is a song you recommended.
Oh, yeah, this is John.
Yeah, John Harris.
Yeah, this guy is like awesome. He's from Buffalo, and then he moved back to Syracuse. I think it was about 2 years ago. Like, I played a show with John. I played an acoustic show with John, and then him and I started talking, and then he apparently knows Everclear, so it was really like, so he was just like, yeah, I know Everclear. I've made jewelry for him because he owns a really great jewelry company. And we really got to talking. I'm like, oh, I'd love to do something with you. He's like, well, yeah, I'd love to do something with you, but I'm moving in 2 days. I was like, oh, shit. He's like, yeah, I'm moving to Syracuse. But he's a great artist, and I actually saw him play at the Veer Union show a couple of weeks back.
Okay. Those guys were at the All Western New York New Year's Eve show, which was great.
Yeah.
They hung out the whole night.
Yeah, they drank a lot of booze.
They hung out the whole night. They seemed to enjoy all the music.
Yeah,
So,
and John was great, and apparently because of that show, he got management. They were at that show. They saw him, and now he's got I think it's like a 15-date tour coming up in the early summer. He's playing Canada. He's playing all over the U.S. He's playing New York City, Boston, stuff like that. So,
cool.
And this album that the song is off of is called "Wake the Dead," and he actually recorded all of the music in haunted spots all over Western New York.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, and then I believe it was mixed and mastered, not in haunted spots because that'd be really difficult to do. But yeah, he ended up giving me the CD for free. So now I'm like, well, if you're gonna give, and I'm like, he like hands it to me, gives me a hug, and he's like, I'll catch you later. I'm gonna head on out, and because he had to drive back to Syracuse from Niagara Falls, and I'm like, oh, thanks, man, and I'm like, wait, what? And then by the time I realized, I'm like, I would have bought the fucking CD because it was like $10. So now I'm like, I'm gonna give you as much free promotion as I possibly can. So. But yeah, this song is called "The Joke" from his album "Wake the Dead," and you can get that on Facebook, Google Play, Amazon Prime, all that fun stuff.
I've got it right here on musicofjohnharris.com.
Damn right,
So,
and you're gonna hear that here on the ThinkSoJoe Show, all Western New York radio.
Relying on Joe.
John Harris on old WNY Radio at the ThinkSoJoe Show.
So I'm over here listening to this song, and I'm just scrolling on my phone, and apparently Spike TV is no more.
I saw that. I saw a sponsored post. It's now like the United Paramount Network. No, it's not that, because that was UPN.
No, it's the Paramount Network.
I knew it had something to do with Paramount. So they're doing this bit, right, where they're like, you can suggest how they destroy the Spike TV logo? I don't know anything about this. Like, this is the first I heard of it was when I saw this thing that you were referencing, this Facebook-sponsored post. Yeah, it's like lip sync battle, Waco, a 6-part TV event, Heathers, the television show, is coming. Like, what the fuck, man? Like can I just? I want. Speaking of like marketing campaigns, and sponsored posts, can I just point out that Tide has actually had to spend money and get sponsored posts saying that you should not be doing anything with Tide Pods besides doing laundry. It's so sad. Oh my god! And I'm with the people who are like, hey, we should just let these idiots weed themselves out, because these are not children that are just getting into the Tide things and like, ooh, these look like candy. These are fucking teenagers who should fucking know better. Well, like the one thing that just bothers me is the people on my Facebook page. Some of them are like, oh, the millennials, they're ruining. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, this isn't a fucking millennial thing, first off, because this is teenagers. These are kids that were born after the year 2000. Yeah. These are kids that were not alive when 9/11 happened. Let that fucking sink in. Yeah. So they're reading about 9/11 like we read about fucking Pearl Harbor. Right. And the Vietnam War. Right. So, first off, and I'm tired of, like, there's this other thing going around. It's a millennial interview, and it shows some girl just on her phone, like I need, like, a safe space, and I don't come in until, like, 10 o'clock. I'm like, this isn't, it's not true. It's like, why are you, like, I understand it's like, hey, I want ratings and I want people to go to my YouTube channel or my Facebook page, but it's like so fucking wrong. And like that, it's just so obnoxious when people are like, it's like, did you just fall out of your chair? No, I dropped a fidget spinner. Oh, see, I'm not there, so you're not here, and you're not here, and we have the Batman fidget spinner. We set it right by your mic, and you're not here. So now I'm playing with the Batman fidget spinner. It seems like it's just like when Republicans, talk about like feminists, and every feminist in the world wants to have like hairy armpits and just wants to kill men. It's like, that's not true. And it's just like Dax Shepard, if he's a funny actor. I love the guy. And he actually said, he's like, don't fool yourselves. He put this on Twitter just a little while ago, and he goes, don't fool yourselves. There's only 10% of conservatives, which are the far right, and the 10% of liberals, which are the far left. They're the ones doing all the bitching. Everybody else is pretty moderate, which is pretty much completely true. And that's how this is. For every one millennial that is like, hey, I can't wake up until I can't come to work until 10 o'clock, and I have to have a safe space with an hour lunch and meditation. For every one of those guys, there's 1,000 others that are working their asses off. Yeah. And it's funny, like, because people are like, oh, I was watching Shark Tank yesterday, and this woman was like, yeah, like, a lot of millennials are doing this for a side hustle. And I'm like, you know what? I hate that. It's like, why? It's not a side hustle. It's a second job. Yeah. Like, don't rename it. It's like, why do I need a second job? Because my first job, even though I work full time, is cutting it to 29 hours, so it doesn't officially in the state I live in count as a full time job. So they don't have to pay for my insurance. And it's like, dudes, like, don't fucking
don't stop trying to wrap this shit up in new wrapping paper and a nice new bow and say it's brand new. Like, I hate that. It's like,
Yeah.
like I had to sit my grandfather down when I was having Christmas dinner with him last year, and he's just like, when I was your age, I was working hard and I had my own company, and I'm like, yeah, I had my own company too. I actually had my own company when I was 20 years old, and you know what happened? It went out of business because I couldn't get a job anywhere else. I was subcontracting, and what happened was there were people that were younger than I who were like, well, what I'll do is instead of installing tile for $20 an hour, I'll do it for $15.
Sure.
And then there were people going, well, instead of doing it for $15 an hour, I'll do it for $10.
Yeah.
And then there were others that were like, I'll just do it by job. So I'll do a job that takes 4 days, but I'll do it for $100. And it's just like, and I'm trying to explain it to him. And then it's just like I tell people when I was in Lost Elysium, my full-time job was Lost Elysium. And then I was also doing Rapids Theater. And then I was also doing tile work. And I was doing all this other stuff just to make ends meet and try to live my actual dream of being a musician.
Right.
And people are like, well, why don't you just be a banker? I'm like, because I have to slit my wrists.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, listen, I should not have to work a job that I absolutely hate to live. Like, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't have to do that in my life. And it's funny because a lot of people are like, my grandparents were first generation. Not even. I mean, they came over from Germany.
Right.
And the American way was you could have your dream. So my grandfather's dream was to have a stable life and this, that, and the other thing. And he didn't care how to have that stable life.
Sure.
The next generation, my mom, my dad, their dream should have been, I want a stable life and I want to be happy doing what I have to do for a living. They didn't get that. Well, third generation, myself, I am not okay with that.
No.
And I would rather work 20 hours a day, 20 hours a day, just trying to make my dreams happen. So when I'm on my deathbed, I'm able to say, you know what, I did the best I could with what I had. Because I don't ever want to go, I wish I should have done this or I should have done that. And it's just shit like that always pisses me off, is when everyone's just like, well, the millennials are just lazy, or the next generation after is just lazy. It's like, dude, I'm sorry that you were able to do a part-time job for a summer and you were able to pay for your whole year of college, 2 semesters.
Right.
I can have 15 part-time jobs and work literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and still not be able to pay for my entire college for 1 semester. Like, I remember I did community colleges. The point of a community college was it's in your community, and if you live there for at least a year, you were supposed to get, money off. It was supposed to be like, hey, this is something cheap, so you can get a quick degree.
Sure.
And then work your way up. Either with this degree, you got some experience, and you're able to take that, get a job that pays you decently, and then from there, with the help of that job, you can go to college, a 4-year school, part-time while you're working that job. I was 18 years old, so this is 2004, and I was going to go to college. 4 classes was $8,000 for a semester. And that does not count books. Books were going to be another $1,500 in Long Island. And I'm like, and I couldn't afford it. And I had a kid, and I was living with my girlfriend who became my wife, and I had a kid, and it was like, well, I can either go to college and starve and be a horrible partner and parent, or I can just get a full-time job and make barely ends meet and have my girlfriend also work full-time. So our kid is being watched by by all our friends and family, and try to make ends meet doing that. And and that's what I had to end up fucking doing. And then I finally get to college, and now I'm paying like $40,000 back for a year of college. So, I mean, it's fucking insane. And it was a SUNY school, which, again, SUNY schools are supposed to be cheaper than other colleges because you are a New York State resident.
Right.
Because I know people that came from different states that go to SUNY schools, and they're paying an extra $15,000 in some SUNY schools because they're not a resident of New York State. But it's still, it's fucking insane. And people just look at us like we're the lazy pieces of shit.
Uh-huh.
And it bothers the piss out of me.
You're not wrong. I just learned this in some research here. In some areas, Tide has become such a hot commodity item, and I mean Tide, the laundry detergent in general, that criminals steal it from stores to resell. Police call the detergent liquid gold on the black market, and it's been known to be traded or sold for illegal drugs. So it ain't just the Tide Pods that are controversial, I guess.
Well, I mean, you have to remember, Whippets. Like, we didn't create Whippets. Whippets were huge in the 70s and 80s. So, and that's the thing. It's like, people would... Ecstasy is a great example, and, we can bring Karina in here and have her discuss ecstasy with us again. But ecstasy is just crap. Some ecstasy has fucking, like, laundry detergent and bleach in it and shit like that. And that's what, MDMA is supposed to be, like, the pure shit. But then ecstasy is like, we'll just put shit in here like Windex with it. And who cares? And it's like, and that's the bullshit of it. It's like, it's not our generation. Every generation forgets how stupid they were when they were teenagers. Like, let's be fair here. Millennials had Jackass.
Yes, they did.
We can be completely honest about that. We had Jackass. Now, there was a Jackass type thing in the 70s and in the 80s and in the 90s. I just don't know that because I wasn't alive for most of that shit. So, I guess the 80s, the 90s version of Jackass was mosh pits. But, there is a sense of entitlement, but I think every generation has that sense of entitlement one way or another. Like, it doesn't help that when, for the past, 25 years, every time I see a car commercial, it starts with, you deserve a car like this. And it's like, why do I deserve a Mercedes?
Yeah, right.
I think I work hard enough where I deserve to have a car where I am not worried about it starting, and I'm not worried about it going from point A to point B to point C, back to point A. But I don't think I deserve a fucking Mercedes. I think I deserve a good vehicle, a reliable vehicle. I don't think I deserve the greatest vehicle made of gold or something like that. I think I deserve, and I feel like every person in the world deserves to not starve to death. I think every person deserves to have adequate health care. I don't think every person in the world deserves a Porsche. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. It's a bit obnoxious. I guess again it's 7:30, so this is the part of the show where Brian wakes up and his drugs are wearing off.
Brian rants
getting
part.
Angry. Yeah, this is the rant half hour of Brian, apparently. So I'm excited for the Royal Rumble because I'm thinking I'm going to see Medusa.
Maybe. I know they were advertising a special on the network that's available on demand from regarding her. So
cool. I hope she's Medusa and not Alundra Blaze. That's so stupid.
It's WWE. She'll be Alundra Blaze.
Like, they own the rights to Medusa though because of WCW. Like, I don't understand why it matters, really. But I don't know. I understand. It's like, hey, Kevin Nash is Kevin Nash, but Scott Hall is Razor Ramon. It's like, why?
That's how they went into the Hall of Fame. You're absolutely right about that.
And then, Kevin Nash comes back as Diesel, which was cool. And then I think that was the same year he went into the Hall of Fame, and then he goes in as Kevin Nash. It's like, what? And I understand he was more famous as Kevin Nash than he was as Diesel. And I guess it could be argued that Scott Hall was more famous as Razor Ramon than as Scott Hall, but I don't know about that. So I know that's because Razor Ramon was such a cool character, and he did have one of the greatest moments of Raw history with the Lightning Kid beating him.
Yeah. There was a special. It aired on the USA Network. It's available on the WWE Network. The top 25 moments in Raw history, and that was on there. Which, if you are a longtime fan of pro wrestling, that is a great special to check out because it has what's the guy, Paul Rosen or whatever the fuck the guy's name is, that does like the Bring It to the Table show with Corey Graves.
Okay.
He's like, it's him and Corey Graves hosting the thing, but he has to go back. He left the list of the top 10 moments in the WWE warehouse. So he goes back to the WWE warehouse where he runs into Sean Mooney.
Wow. And
Sean Mooney is like just, like trying to be like best friends with this guy. And like in the background you see like the Adam Rose Bunny, a New Day Unicorn, Moppy, and a referee playing poker. And then, like, as he's walking through the warehouse, there's, like, Jack Swagger's eagle is just sitting in like, the King of the Ring throne and shit like that. Just weird shit, just, like, if you're a WWE fan, that you just look at and be like, holy shit, that's fucking cool. Like,
see, like, they should bring back the King of the Ring, and they should do an entire 3-hour tournament and have it WWE, like, have it Raw versus SmackDown. Have the Cruiserweights involved there, too. Have it King of the Ring for all of WWE, and then also have a women's King of the Ring. Like, how awesome that would be?
Like a Queen of the Ring.
Yeah, and they should really freaking do that. And I think that'd be really cool. I mean, the last great King of the Ring, I would say, is King Booker. Like, I forgot that Billy Gunn and Ken Shamrock were both King of the Ring winners.
Yeah.
So Triple H was apparently too, and
he was.
He didn't really use that at all.
No, and some of the guys that did win didn't really use it at all.
And then you have someone like Owen Hart that the day he died, he was still the King of Hearts for the most part.
Yeah.
So, and Slammy Award winner.
I was watching this episode of Raw, and I know you saw my post about it. It was we just threw on the network, and it was like This Week in WWE. So after This Week in WWE, they were showing this Raw from January 4th, 2016, so 2 years ago. And I'm just watching this episode of Raw, and it's like half the guys that were on this episode had left WWE on bad terms, including King Barrett. He was mentioned on the show. I didn't see him. Ryback was on the show. Alberto Del Rio was on the show. Just like all these guys who just left on bad terms. It's like, holy shit, like this guy was on here. Like Cody Rhodes was Stardust. And it's like, goddamn. Like Neville was on the episode. It's like, holy shit, man. A lot happened in 2 years in WWE.
I know. And you sort of forget that. Like it's almost like that every 2 years. If you go, like you always have like the guys that are always there, like Dolph Ziggler, John Cena, and stuff like that. But then, I mean, 2 years ago, I mean, Triple H was doing shit. I think is a good example, and the Authority was there, and stuff like that. And it's really every 2 years it really changes. I mean, 1 year you have Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Undertaker pretty much as regular guys, and then all of a sudden they're all semi-retired and shit like that. So I don't know. All I know is I hope that Roman Reigns is suspended due to his steroid problems.
I saw that. That's going to throw a wrinkle into things for WWE.
Well, they said that he was attached to this, but he already got a wellness violation, which may have been already because of this guy.
Sure.
So he may have been a former client of this guy.
Sure.
And just because you're a client of someone doesn't mean that you're getting illegal steroids. So I understand like there's a way around it. Like the other thing is like the wellness, like and Rob Van Dam talked about this, like the wellness policy, there's no way he can do it again because he smokes weed, even though he lives in California and it's legal. Mm-hmm. If they did a piss test on him, he'd come up positive, and he's like, I don't think it's fair because it's legal where I'm from, and shit like that. But it is what it is. So now he's not going to get a job because apparently he got like a really bad concussion. So
yeah, if you watch the Kurt Angle 24, which has been airing on the WWE Network lately, Kurt Angle's like, you know, when I was in WWE, I was on painkillers, and like I would have been fired on the spot with the wellness policy that's in place now.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, you know, you've got one argument for it, one argument against it. You've got guys like Scott Steiner who are like, the whole goddamn thing's a joke, you know?
Says the guy that can't even... He tests positive just walking into the office.
Well, sure, but his you know, the infamous thing with Scott Steiner was he was like, I'll take a drug test when Triple H does.
Touché.
Yeah, so, I mean, and, like... Clearly that didn't happen, and he rubbed somebody the wrong way, and there goes his big push that he was going to have with this match with Triple H, you know, and all that shit, back when Scott Steiner had come over after WCW ended. So, I mean, like, you know, the wellness policy is there, and you've got some guys who are like, well, yeah, I mean, this would have saved my life if it was here when I was here. And then you've got other guys who are like, that fucking thing is so stupid, it's a joke. You know, and like it's selective.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to wrap things up, isn't it?
I agree. I think we're at that point. So this Friday night, all WNY News and Radio will be at Nietzsche's at 10 p.m. The first band starts. And we're going straight through to 2 a.m. With Tokyo Monsters, Nuke Fun, Humble State, and hopefully one more band. We're still working on that right now.
How much are tickets, Joe?
It's $5. $5 at the door. $5. We're not even doing advance right now, so just $5 get you in. This is one of the bands that was going to play at this show. They're on the flyer, and they're a really good band, but unfortunately, bronchitis has kept them off the bill. So hopefully maybe sometime in the future we'll get them back on a all WNY show. And this is a band called Groove Nektar. And this song is called Head Rush on all WNY Radio. Think So Joe Show. We'll see you next week. Brian, I'll talk to you later off the air.
Peace out.
Later. Here it comes. One day.